We've come a long way together over the last year. Now we need everybody, we need you to get vaccinated and help put COVID behind us once and for all. It's time for everyone to say they've rolled up their sleeves and gotten their vaccinations. COVID vaccines are safe and effective. Everyone in the Benjamin family has now been vaccinated, even our youngest. Just like we've done, and just like so many others across the Midlands, it is important to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your community. Once you've gotten fully vaccinated, you'll know you've done your part in helping everyone get safely back together again. Take a look, see how easy that was. Vaccinations are free and available from great community partners all across the Midlands. Getting our city and all of our communities back to normal is almost within reach. We're almost there. This is your shot, Columbia.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Trey Taylor.
In It Together, SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Trey Taylor. Thank you again so much for joining us. Listen, today we're talking about something that over 3 million people, including me in the United States, deal with: migraines. We'll talk about treatments, symptoms, causes, and you know the difference between headaches. Do you have migraines and you may not even know it? Well, Dr. Nancie Richberg, Pharm.D, SalubriusRx, Chief of Clinical Services, Healthy Lifestyle Change Coach, and friend to the show, is going to join us to break it down. Thank you, Nancie, so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely. And a migraine patient, Tanya Rodriguez-Hodges with Latino Communications, is going to share with us her experiences. Tanya, thank you so much, darling. And I heard you had a migraine this weekend. How are you feeling?
Much better, thank you.
I'm so glad to hear, girl. I understand. I overstand, actually.
I know.
Plus, it's World Blood Donor Day with American Red Cross Executive Director Rebecca Jordan. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID.
Great to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies, so much. That and more coming up next on Coping with COVID Wellness Wednesday from the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and In It Together SC. First, your COVID community updates. We now know when those child tax credit payments will be sent. The IRS will begin sending $300 per month per child under age 6 and $200 monthly for those ages 6 through 17 payments beginning July 15th. Now, half of the money will come this year and the other half after you file your taxes next spring. Parents can take the money all at once or via an online portal launching next month. Look out for an eligibility letter and other letter explaining the payments, and check the screen for more information. The South Carolina Department of Employment and Workforce is partnering with SC Technical Colleges to offer retraining programs for the unemployed. Governor McMaster allocated $8 million in COVID relief funds to offer the program free. Those participating can opt out of conducting the weekly required job search for unemployment insurance benefits. And Richland County has ended their face mask ordinance, telling citizens to use wisdom and caution in public. The only other South Carolina county that requires face masks is Camden. Meanwhile, the Riverbank Zoo has ended required face coverings and timed reservations. To visit the facility, visit riverbanks.org for more information. In It Together, SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Trey Taylor, and if you want updates about COVID testing and vaccinations, visit scdhec.gov for the most up-to-date listing of times, dates, and location. Plus, throughout the show, we'll be scrolling specific locations throughout the state of South Carolina at the bottom of the screen. Check that out. Also, check the scroll for information about Lexington Medical Center. Their vaccination clinics have all been transferred to walk-in clinics, including the one at Brooklyn Baptist Church. Also, today is the last day for the Columbia Mall Vaccination Clinic. That is open through June 9th today, and they have gone to the J&J vaccination. If you are a veteran, you can check the VA for more information about COVID testing. You can see that information on the screen. They're handling all COVID testing and vaccinations for those who are veterans. Also, Kroger and CVS have vaccine locations, and that includes the CVS in Target stores. And if you are having some challenges making your appointment for a vaccination, there is online help from Get Set Up for seniors and anyone needing assistance. Now, the Comet is not only offering free rides to get your vaccination, they are also offering vaccinations at the Comet Bus Station main location in Columbia on the corner of Sumter and Laurel Streets. Now, if you or someone you know lost a family or friend to COVID, the FEMA is actually doing COVID reimbursement payments. Contact FEMA for more information about getting a reimbursement for funeral expenses. There are several bill payment assistance programs in and around South Carolina. Here are a few. Richland County has a COVID rental assistant payment program, and they're also giving some bill assistance. And SC Housing has a bill and rental assistance program, and they're also giving some help for frontline workers who want to buy a home. The Affordable Care Act has been extended through August. Not only can you log on and get the information from the ACA, even if you have insurance, why don't you give them a call or log on to see if you qualify for additional subsidies? The South Carolina Department of Mental Health has launched SC Hopes. It's a hotline for those who need help coping with COVID. And then the summer feeding program is going on. There are several locations throughout the state of South Carolina that are offering free meal pickup throughout the summer for people, even if young people are not in that particular district. You can see the graphic on the screen for more information. In it together, SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Trey Taylor. We're streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page. Please go over there and hit like and share, so not only you can get a notification on when to watch a Wellness Wednesday, but you can also get some great information about a diabetes prevention program. We're also streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. Would you please go over there and hit the like button and subscribe to that one too, because we've got some great information on the Tailor Made Production page. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Want to say hi to all of you YouTubers. Please hit the subscribe button, won't you please? And check out Coping with COVID Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and every first Monday with comedian George Wallace. Please continue to like, share, and follow. And post this information out to some people who may need it, because we definitely want to get the message to the masses. I want to say hi to Betty Fletcher. She says, good afternoon, everyone. Hey there. Thank you, Betty, so much for watching Coping with COVID. We appreciate you so very much. Listen, over 3 million people in the United States suffer from migraines. I was one of them. I say was because I'm doing so much better now. And they're often misunderstood by those who have never experienced this type of intense pain. Have you ever heard, oh, go take an aspirin, you'll be okay? It's not that simple. Surprisingly, not only do many people not know that they have migraines, they don't seek treatment. But listen, it's a real thing, and there is hope. Tanya Rodriguez-Hodges is a migraine sufferer. I understand she had one this weekend. We're going to talk to her a little bit later on in the interview, but we'll start with Dr. Nancie Richberg. She's a Pharm.D. SalubriusRx, Chief of Clinical Services and Healthy Lifestyle Change Coach and friend to the show. She's been with us several times. She's treated migraines and has some interesting insight on the condition. Nancie, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Listen, what exactly is a migraine headache? Now, to me, it felt like my head was exploding, but I know that wasn't really what it was. What is a migraine?
Well, there's different pathways that cause it. And what differentiates a migraine from a regular headache is that pulsating sense that you get, usually coupled with severe pain. And it lasts anywhere from 4 to, believe it or not, 72 hours. So it can last a long period of time. And it typically is on one side. It doesn't have to be that way, but for a lot of people, it's on one side of the brain. And it repeats itself. So it can either be what we call acute, so something that comes on and it's not very common for you, or it can be chronic, meaning you have 4 episodes in a week, or almost out of 30 days, 15 days, you're experiencing this. And that's the migraine. And it's not subsided by just closing your eyes and sitting still or taking 2 Tylenol. That might help, but it doesn't have it go away.
Right. Why do people have migraine headaches?
That also can be a variety of different reasons. There's not a definitive, this is what causes them. They've done so many different research on them, but what they think can cause it is if your blood sugar levels drop. So it's a sign of hypoglycemia. You can get a really bad headache, and for some people, it will go into a migraine. If you encounter a trigger. So we talk about those, and I'm sure she'll mention maybe some of hers. And that could be anything from lights, a smell, even drinking something, caffeine, which is confusing to some people because we also use caffeine to treat migraine.
To treat it, yeah. Now, do they, and you said that sometimes they last for between, you said 24 to 72 hours?
Yes.
Do they last
3 days.
forever? Can they come and go? Because like I said, when I was a teenager, I used to have them a lot. And now as an adult, I don't get them as much, but I'll tell you, if my sinuses are bothering, if I get a headache, if I know I'm stressed or I'm tired, or if my sinus is bothering me, I always try to get to it quick because I know it can end up being a migraine. So the question is then, can they come and go? Do they last forever? Mine's haven't.
They can come and go. And the question became, and so they can come and go depending on what you were describing. If you have a sinus headache, or for women, it can happen when you start mincing or when it's that time of the month, you'll get a headache. So it could be hormonally related.
Right.
And then you think you're safe after menopause, but it'll happen when that starts to shift again. So can they come and go? Yes. You can get them one day, be fine the next day, and it comes back. The question has become is that if it comes back within 24 hours, did it ever really leave? And so that's what we're focused on, making sure we're resolving for people is having you be able to go 96 hours or a week without having one can be life-changing.
Can you eliminate them forever?
Can people go times and periods without having them? Yes, they can. They can go without experiencing one for months, but there's usually people who are paying attention, keeping a migraine or a headache diary, and they're writing down what's happening that day. And you might start to identify triggers that you may like, but you need to eliminate those. And also, even in the office or at home, as we start switching out light bulbs, for some people, those can be a trigger where someone thinks that they're doing great and someone changes a light bulb and it's back.
Oh, wow. We're looking here about some symptoms of migraines. And I always heard a lot about the aura. I don't think I got an aura. I would just get it, boom, but I know some people get certain symptoms. They know
it can happen with or without an aura. And some people hear aura and they think that spiritual thing where it's going to be like a great light. It can be strobing lights. It could be nausea, vomiting. It could be as simple as feeling tired. But that's why you keep that log, so you can start to look back to see what it is. And that helps people to be able to treat it as soon as that onset is happening, to hopefully block it and stop it from becoming a full-blown migraine attack.
How is it different from just a regular headache? How do you know you're not having just a headache?
A headache, typically one can be on both sides. You'll think of a tension headache that's kind of going all the way around your head. You can still have that pain behind your eyes. However, you have less sensitivity to light and to sound, as you might find with a migraine. And that typically does not last those 4 hours. It typically goes away and it's not there and it's not debilitating.
We're talking to Dr. Nancie Richberg, and we're talking about migraine headaches. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. And we've been talking about migraines. I want to bring in Tanya Rodriguez-Hodges because she's Executive Director of Latino Communications. Hey there, Tanya. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about your migraine experience. How long have you had them?
I've had them most of my life, and they can be quite life-altering. For me, it starts over my right eye. And if I do not address it quickly enough, if I think that I can beat it, if I think that I can outrun it, typically what will happen is that it then quickly goes to the side of my head, and then I'm sensitive to light, I'm sensitive to sound, I'm nauseous, sometimes I can, vomit. That's kind of the way that it transpires for me. And mine don't typically last for a few hours. Mine can last 24 hours, 48 hours, where I'm literally just in a dark room. I cannot lay down because any pressure on the head is too much. So it's if I don't pay attention, then it can quickly get out of hand.
So you said it always starts on your right eye. Always?
Always.
Yeah. Mine were not that consistent.
Yeah. Mine starts over here in the right section. And then, like I said, there are times as a woman, you just feel as though, okay, I can get through this meeting if I just make it through the checkout at the grocery store. If I just put the potatoes in the oven, I can, let me just get a few more things done. And then in that cycle, and then I'll have my husband or my children saying, so you tried to outbeat this one, huh? How's that working for you now? Because it can be quite life altering. You can't really explain it to people because oftentimes you hear, oh, I had a migraine last night and I took 2 Tylenol. And I think to myself, wow, if I could take 2 Tylenol, I'd be winning the lotto.
Right.
But it's not that. It's just not that. So if you're not familiar with it, it can become an Achilles heel because you certainly don't want to tell people I can't make the meeting because I can't bear light and I have to drive to you and it's sunny out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Nancie, I see you shaking your head. And particularly when Tanya said she's heard people said, oh, I took 2 Tylenols. They didn't have a migraine.
I don't think that was a migraine. That was a general headache.
It
lasts longer than 4 hours.
Yeah.
Then you're moving into migraine. And yes, you can take over-the-counter medications for migraines. They're usually adjunct. They're added on to help. And one of the challenges is that a lot of the over-the-counter pain medicines will say migraine relief. And people think, oh, this is for a migraine. But until you're taking something that's working on one of those pathways, like serotonin medication, like a triptan, sumatriptan, or I'll go trade names like Maxalt or Imitrex. Those are medications that are designed to stop it. And now you've seen some advertisements with Whoopi Goldberg and advertising some of the newer medications, which are groundbreaking because they can actually stop it quickly. And then they've shown where they can keep that migraine away for almost up to a week.
Wow.
Which is life-changing for some people to be able to not have to miss meetings or miss family functions. And reduce some of their migraines going from 15 a month. Just imagine having 15, and that's just episodes that could last that 2 to 3 days. So that's almost your whole month. Those are chronic migraine sufferers. And to be able to go back out and start socializing changes your entire life.
Yeah, I want to talk more about those treatments, the new and the old treatments. But Tanya, I want to ask you, you said it always starts on your right eye. Are there triggers? What are the triggers for you? Do you know?
Yes. If so I'm not a person that really consumes alcohol, but on those rare occasions, if we're having like a punch and the punch has some alcohol in it, that'll set me off. Chocolate's another thing that sets me off. Obviously, stress. If I haven't moved or worked out some of that stress, then that will do it. And lack of sleep. As I was taking care of my father, there were plenty of days and nights that I couldn't sleep. And that could also definitely bring on a migraine. Yeah. And flashing lights. So what people don't realize is if we're in a movie theater, like my family knows already, if something starts to flash, even if it's in the background, I close my eyes, cover my eyes with my hand, and then they'll tap me and say, okay, it's over. Because that on occasion can also trigger a migraine, and those come on really hard and really fast. And those are the ones that you don't want to experience when you're not in the comfort of your home.
Yeah, In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Trey Taylor. We're talking to Executive Director of Latino Communications, Tanya Rodriguez-Hodges, who is a migraine sufferer. Also, Dr. Nancie Richberg, SalubriusRx, who has done extensive treatment and research with migraines. Nancie, tell us about what your research is about.
I did research when one of the newer ones, Nortec, was coming out onto the market, and looking at it as a either adjunct or replacement for sumatriptan, which is kind of like the Coca-Cola of the triptans, if you will. That's what most of them are going to compare themselves to, because those are great products. When they came out on the market, they were game changers for people suffering from migraines. Mm-hmm. However, as the doses increase and you tell someone, take this at the onset and then wait 2 hours, I'm sure Tanya can relate that it's hard to wait those 2 hours if you're still having that pain.
Yeah.
So people start overdosing with it, which can cause heart problems, increase your blood pressure, and can have different side effects. So this new class is able to treat it without having that side effect of affecting your blood pressure, and working on different pathways that have different sets of possible drug interactions or adverse events.
Right. Want people to post and share this information out, because so many people really deal with migraines. Tanya, I know for me, when I finally was prescribed Imitrex, Nancie, that helped. But because I got so much nausea, I had to have the Imitrex inhaler, and that knocked me out. And then when I wake up, then I was okay. What are you taking? What do you end up taking? What works for you, Tanya?
So I've been through the gamut, and I've cycled back around to Imitrex injections, and they're now starting not to work. So he put me on a tablet, and that's not working as well as I had hoped, because I'm still averaging between 3 or 4 in a week. And so I need to find, funny that Dr. Nancie mentioned Whoopi, because I see the commercials and I'm like, if it's good enough for Whoop, maybe it's good enough for me.
That's what everybody was, I'm sure. That was probably the point of the ad campaign.
I'm hoping maybe today I can learn, what other things I can take. I even, in conjunction with, they had me on Topamax. And that wasn't, the combination of the two just was not working for me. And I don't want to be on something if I don't have to be on something. So we came off of that, and the migraines remained the same. So we realized that Topamax wasn't working at all.
Wow. Michelle Harris says the migraine is bad enough. She says what she can't stand is the nausea. She said it can last for hours after the headache is gone. Thank you, Michelle, for watching. Yeah, the nausea was really the bad thing for me too. I mean, just doubling over. So what are good things, bad, past and present to use, Nancie? What seems to be most effective now?
Every patient is different, because there are multiple pathways that they understand now that are causing this migraine effect. And so inside your body, you have all these different pathways. But one way is to start it as soon as, don't try to be a Viking. Start it as soon as it starts to come on. Try to get into I'm sure, a quiet, dark place with less with more sensory deprivation, to give yourself time, and really keeping that your pain medication with you, your migraine medication with you, and also watching the foods. You mentioned wine, and often with wine, people eat cheese, and that's another big culprit. And they'll have cheese and wine, and they'll think, oh, it's the wine. Well, you also had cheese. So you have to pay attention to those triggers. Talking with your doctor, letting them know what's happening, and also talking with your pharmacist to see if any of the medications you're currently taking are known to cause headaches as well. That could be another culprit or possibility to look into.
Oh, wow. Really? Really? So tell us about what Whoopi's on. As Tanya said, Whoopi's on.
I get her and Serena mixed up. But they're taking either Nortec and the Ubrevely. And those are great products. If you just take the one tablet, they're great for prophylactic use as well. One of them just was approved for that. And they've done really great in studies on stopping that photosensitivity, the light sensitivity, and the smell sensitivity. For the nausea, sometimes they'll add on another medication that works very quickly but can make you drowsy. Brand name is Zofran, or the Ondestrone. I struggle saying that particular one, but that helps to relieve the nausea feeling while you're going through that. And really, a combination sometimes of even the Imitrex with one of them is approved and can be taken that way. And still, you can have your Tylenol. I do want to caution people to remember not to overdose on the Tylenol. And that doesn't mean, I can go up to the maximum every day. you want to try to use as little as possible on either the acetaminophen or the ibuprofen. One can cause damage to your liver if you take too much over a period of time, and the other one can damage your kidneys. So you want to make sure that you are monitoring how many tablets you're taking. And if you find that you're taking more than what's being prescribed, talk to your doctor, see what other options there are. There are other classes that come with a larger side effect profile. You heard about those a lot with COVID, the monoclonal antibodies. Those also have shown some effectiveness in helping people to have relief from their migraines. But finding out your triggers, making those changes, and sometimes your trigger is hidden in your food items, and you really have to pay attention to those. And like she mentioned, sleep is very important. Important thing about stress is you think, oh, it's coming, I'm stressed, and then you actually come through the stressful anxiety moment, and then you get the migraine. So being prepared, even after you feel like you're relaxed, that process already began, and you need to make sure you have your medication handy. Don't wait till you use your last injection or take your last tablet to try to get a refill. Make sure you have some on hand in case, one, the pharmacy is out of it, or God forbid your insurance plan suddenly changed the formulary and now it's not covered and we have to try to get you something different.
Yeah. We're talking about migraine headaches today with Dr. Nancie Richberg. Also, Tanya Rodriguez-Hodges is a migraine sufferer. Hey, I want to remind you that at the bottom of the screen, you will see scrolling some information about pandemic relief. Now, there you will find not only places that you can get a vaccination and treatment, but resources available if you're having some challenges, mental, emotional, and also financial challenges coping with COVID. So that is scrolling at the bottom of the screen throughout the show. In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. I'm Trey Taylor, and again today we are talking about migraine headaches. So please continue to post and share this information out so we can get the message to the masses. What about some non-homeopathic treatments?
There are some that are still out there. If you can find it, belladonna comes on and off the market for various reasons, but there's some herbal products. You can take the belladonna. They have different ones for, if you can advance the slide, there's another one that's kind of common that people like that help you to relax. Even valerian root, people will take for relaxation. And then you have ones for the right-sided migraines, or depending on when she mentioned that hers starts on the right. Well, if you're a right-sided one, you would pick that one. If it's on the left side, it'd be the other. Those are options that you can do. Also, relaxation techniques, breathing techniques, and having that some people will wear glasses. You'll see them that refract the blue light. And talking to your job and your home about, we need to change our lights. We need to code our lighting. We need to adjust what we're using, and going back sometimes even to the older light bulbs if you have to avoid that little strobe that you don't see. But once you get a migraine, you suddenly can see every little light wave happening starts to come on.
Wow. That's so interesting, that little things that we don't even think about, the light, or the new lights, the new lights are really things that we need to think about. Have you tried anything homeopathic, Tanya?
I have tried the root that she just mentioned, that Dr. Nancie just mentioned. I forget the first part of the root name.
The valerian?
Yes. And that has worked, but with respect to the monitors and television screens and your phone, all of our electronic devices that I use, either here in the office or personally, have a blackout of the blue, so that is not something that I'm constantly seeing and using. I also have glasses, and I'll show you. There are these glasses that are yellow.
Oh, wow.
And they also help me when I need to see, particularly this larger screen, because I couldn't cover the screen. And I'll use that if I feel that my eyes are doing that thing that they do before something happens. So you're very aware of it. You're constantly aware of it. And now that I am a woman of a particular age and going through menopause, that has also, added to the fun of, this whole thing. And so, but even that, I'm paying attention. I'm keeping my log. And I'm always fascinated to go back and see what was happening that particular day, what I was doing, and how that migraine came on and how come it lasted so long.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That's Tanya Rodriguez-Hodges. She is Executive Director of Latino Communication. She is a migraine sufferer. Dr. Nancie Richberg also joins us. Michelle Harris says she never had migraines as a child, but her doctor says now that she is menopausal, that she is starting to have migraine. She wants to know, is that common, Dr. Richberg?
Yes, that's very common because your hormones are changing and you're getting older. So there's an age band, and typically it's from 18 to about 54, where you're in your most active, and you're also, for women, you're reproductive during that time. And that's the largest group of people that are having migraines. And women tend to have migraines more at a higher rate than men do. So that's very common, and to understand that when your body's going through these changes to make those different adaptations. And I love the glasses that she shared. Those are even when you're driving, because of these new lights that these headlights have, eye accommodation and the difficulty, and then you see light after light going by. That helps to also reduce that light, but still give you vision for the road so you can still drive.
What kind of glasses are those, Tanya, and where do you get them?
These I actually got from, my doctor when I picked up my glasses about maybe a year ago, before COVID. So, and he had them, and literally what they do is they brighten your vantage, your viewing, and it has a yellow tinge to it, but it does block out the blue light. Exactly what she says at night. If I'm driving, I do have a second pair in the car, and I pop those over my glasses because I need glasses, because those lights coming at me, especially in the newer cars, that can just be, that in itself can be a strobe light nightmare.
Wow.
It really what on Amazon also, Trey.
I was going to ask you, what are those called, Nancie, and where can people get them? And can you wear them with contacts? Tanya says she wears them over her glasses.
You can wear them with contacts, yes, because there's no vision change as far as near or far-sightedness. Their technical name, I do not know the technical name, but if you look up driving glasses, they come up for driving glasses, and they're the yellow ones. You have to be careful, and most of them will show you how much they're going to decrease the amount of brightness of the lights. And they're also good for people. I had LASIK, and after I had LASIK, I noticed that at night those bright lights, they blind me out, and I almost have to close my eyes, which is not what you want to do when you're driving. So, but they're very helpful, and I didn't notice that until I was driving on, I think, one of like 17 or something down in the low country, and you're in darkness, and all of a sudden here comes these bright lights. And so those glasses are very important for night driving and having indoors. If you're going to be sitting down, as opposed to wearing regular sunglasses. Regular sunglasses just make it dimmer, but it doesn't block out the light that you're trying to block. So it's definitely a difference.
Wow. Anything else we need to know, Nancie, as we wrap up the conversation about migraines?
Well, I want to talk about the treatment real quick.
Okay.
Cost. They can be a little shocking and probably could trigger some migraines. They can be as inexpensive as about $9 for the sumatriptans or for some of the other triptans, but then go all the way up to a few $100s for these newer products that are on the market. So if you do have commercial insurance and they write for these, the one either that Whoopi is on or that Serena is on, both of them have patient assistance programs where you can get almost down to zero. And if you are on Medicaid or Medicare, as you know, they don't allow you to use coupons for those. And you would have to see if they would be approved. And they might require you to do step therapy before they'll invest in that particular product. Some of them do have sample cards because they claim that after just one dose, you'll know if it's going to work for you, or after 1 or 2 dosages. And they'll give you 2 tablets to try before you go ahead and you invest. But definitely shop around on the pricing. Don't forget your independent pharmacies. They are very competitive. And just because you find it on that lovely GoodRx site, which is great, I'm not going to talk about them. I don't want to have any problems. But not every pharmacy accepts them because sometimes those prices are below cost. But they will work with you and assist you. And you usually can get that found a lot of times at your independent pharmacy, your local pharmacies.
What about the drops? I did see, or I read something today about some drops, some eye drops that are being done for.
That they're investigating.
Yeah.
The reason for that is that if you're having, especially that eye or photosensitivity, that it can help to desensitize the pain, because you can actually, your eyeballs actually become painful.
Right.
And as they become painful, that continues to trigger the migraine. I haven't read all the studies on the drops just yet. They're not as effective for general migraines. They're kind of targeting for specific ones.
Okay.
And you still have the nasal sprays and the injections. But if you can imagine, as she described, if you're having a migraine and you're a little bit late on the start, to have the wherewithal to give yourself an injection could be challenging. So making sure that you have a migraine partner that can help you if you have to administer an injection.
Yeah. Dr. Nancie Richberg, Pharm.D, SalubriusRx, Chief of Clinical Services, Healthy Lifestyle Change Coach. Thank you so much for joining us today, giving us all this great information. And Tanya, listen, good luck to you, girl. God bless. And I hope it gets better. I'm glad for the glasses. The glasses is a great tip, girl. I'm getting me some little cool glasses like that. Do they make them cool looking? Cool?
They do. They do. Okay. They come in all sorts of frames, and you'll feel like you're Hollywood.
Okay.
If you are, as we're going back to work, if you're a migraine sufferer, talk with your job. Tell them that you might need a dark room. I know that we've had them at a couple of places where I've worked, where someone having a migraine could go into a dark room where it's quiet and they could sit and they would have that time to try to see if they could manage the migraine without having to go home.
Great. That's a great tip too. Tell your employer. I love that Tanya said her family knows. So they're letting her know, hey, this is going on. This is going on. So that's the other thing we got to talk and let our, the people around us know what's going on so they can help us. Dr. Nancie, Tanya, thank you ladies so much for joining us today on Coping with COVID. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. In It Together, SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. Coming up next, it's World Blood Donor Day. Rebecca Jordan with the American Red Cross is here to talk about it. Coming up next on Coping with COVID. I'm Trey Taylor.
Coping with COVID. Coping with COVID, updates on the pandemic and information to help you thrive and survive COVID-19. It's brought to you by SCDHEC. Visit scdhec.gov for an updated list of testing and vaccination sites and info to help protect yourself, your family, and friends from the coronavirus. SCDHEC, healthy people, healthy communities. In It Together, SC and the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council presenting Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with COVID. The City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, helping to meet the needs of small, minority, and women-owned businesses in the City of Columbia. Visit columbiasc.net/OBO. Agape Counseling and Training Services. Call 803-779-2777 for licensed professionals of counselors and social workers helping families, engaged and married couples, and individuals of all ages gain an understanding of all aspects of their lives. If you're having a challenge coping with COVID, visit Agape Counseling and Training Services at agapects.com. The Comet Bus System, a fast, fun, friendly transit system that can take you anywhere you want to go in the Midlands. So don't miss your shot. Catch the Comet and get a free ride to get your COVID vaccine. Visit catchthecomet.gov. Javis Tax Services, South Carolina's premier full-service financial provider with over 20 years of experience. Palmetto Media Connections, connecting media and communities together. And Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. Call Daniel for honest, professional, reliable, and knowledgeable computer sales and service. Coping with COVID from SCDHEC. In It Together, the South Carolina Diabetes Advisory Council, the City of Columbia Office of Business Opportunities, Agape Counseling and Training Services, the Comet Bus System, Palmetto Media Connections, Javis Financial Services, and Computers Unique.
Coping with COVID with Trey Taylor.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comet is our livelihood.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Let Palmetto Painting Services take the worry out of your next home painting project. We can paint anything. Our business is about interior painting and exterior painting. We offer services for residential and commercial properties. Restore the life to your home with a fresh coat of paint from Palmetto Painting Services. References are available upon request. Give us a call at 803-546-4570 today.
Visit Davis Tax Service today, 803-419-1001.
How will you remember the year 2020?
COVID.
Losing my job.
Working 12-hour shifts in a mask.
Losing my grandma to COVID.
COVID has claimed thousands in South Carolina and strained our health system, schools, businesses, and families. If you're struggling and need to talk, call SC Hopes. That free call can help put you in touch with people who can help. This goes for healthcare workers, teachers, restaurant employees, parents, anyone and everyone. SC Hopes, mental health and addiction support for challenging times.
You can eat what's good to you and good for you, too.
Yes.
Get the Dash for Southern Soul Cookbook free. All you have to do is ask. It's packed with delicious Southern-style recipes with a healthy twist.
Yummy.
You won't be able to taste the difference, but you will be able to feel the difference.
Yeah.
Inbox your email address to the In It Together or Tailor Made Productions Facebook page, and you'll get it straight to your mailbox. The Dash for Southern Style Cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask. From In It Together SC, the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina, and Coping with COVID.
Coping with COVID with Trey Taylor.
In It Together SC and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. Hey, don't forget, just like you heard the commercial say, if you want the Dash for Southern Style Cookbook and a Coping with COVID face mask, please inbox me or put in the chat that you want the Dash for Southern Soul Cookbook. It's a great cookbook, and we would love to get it out for you. Listen, it's World Blood Donor Day, and we're joined by Rebecca Jordan. She's Executive Director with the American Red Cross. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining us. We appreciate you.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So tell us about World Blood Donor Day.
Well, it's just a great day to be able to recognize the blood donors that come out. As you know, blood can only be derived from living donors. It's not something that can be manufactured in a lab, so we really count on the generosity of people to come out, roll up their sleeves, and give blood. So it's just a great day to just take a few minutes just to recognize the donors that come out and support.
What is the need for blood right now? Has it increased or decreased during the pandemic?
Well, it's ebbed and flowed. So during the pandemic, initially, when COVID first happened and everything shut down, we were very concerned about what that was going to do to the blood supply, because we really rely on a lot of our corporate partners and a lot of our schools, the high schools and the colleges. They bring in about 20% of our blood.
Oh, wow.
So when all of that closed, we were really worried about how that was going to impact our blood supply. And we saw that people did still come out. They came out and supported at community drives. They came to our different donor centers. Bull Street location in Columbia is a donor center. So we were able to keep up with the demand, and also the hospitals cut back on elective surgeries. So the need kind of balanced itself out. And so we've been able to maintain the supply, but summer months are challenging. People are now starting to get back out,
right.
And so we're concerned that we're going to be facing some challenging times over the next several months.
So, as far as the minority, Black and Brown communities, is there a specific need in those communities?
There absolutely is. And it's interesting, only 38% of the entire population is eligible to give blood. But we do see in minority populations, only about 3% give. And when we look at diseases like sickle cell, which is just a horrible disease that, I feel like I used to hear a lot more about it when I was younger. I don't hear as much now. But we've got about 100,000 people that have sickle cell. And really the way to be able to help those are through blood transfusions and having blood that's more closely matched with their ethnicity is going to be the most effective. So really being able to collect that blood in that population is tremendous for us.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's more than just having the same blood type. Ethnicity is important too.
Yes, it is. And what we can see is that we can transfuse in others that are not ethnically similar, but eventually you could have some antibodies as a result of that. So it's really important for us to find the most closely related matches and trying. We really are pushing right now diverse blood donors. We've got a lot of great partners that we're partnering with, but it's still an ongoing need for us to be able to get more diverse blood donors.
Rebecca Jordan joins us. She's executive director of the American Red Cross. It's World Blood Donor Day, and we're talking about the need for blood donors. So what is the blood donor process? What do you, how and when can you give blood, and who can give blood?
So it's really a pretty simple process. I think people get really frightened about the needle.
It's the needle, girl. It's not the blood donation. It's the needle. It's always the needle.
But the actual process where the needle is actually in your arm for a regular blood donation is only about 10 minutes. So when you think about the people whose lives that you are saving, how often do you get to do something where you're saving sometimes multiple lives with one donation? It's worth it, and it really isn't as painful. I think the thought of it is worse than the actual process. But people can go online and look and find at redcrossblood.org and put in their zip code, and they can find a location for a blood donation. There are a lot of questions that we do ask, and people can actually fill those out ahead of time. It's called a rapid pass. They can do that on the day of their donation. But there's a lot of information on whether you would have deferrals based on where you might have lived and any medications that you might be on. So there's a lot of information on there. And then, schedule your appointment and come in, and, the process itself is about an hour. But again, once you're on the donation bed is only about 10 to 15 minutes. And then you get snacks afterwards.
Listen, food is always a great, reason to, motivator. We're here on the redcrossblood.org website. And as you said, it's right there. Start your rapid pass. And as you said, you can fill it out. And then it says, am I eligible to give blood? So you can find out about the eligibility requirements. And that's something I didn't ask you about, but I was going to, was the COVID-19 antibody testing, which was another reason, another push for blood donations during COVID.
Absolutely. And if you want to get your antibody testing, now's a good time to do it, because we're going to be stopping that process June 25th. So this is a good time to do that. And I will say too, if somebody might have gone online 5 years ago and found out that they couldn't give blood, there are changes. So it's a good opportunity to go back online and see, because there can be changes based on, again, different countries that you might have lived in. So it's always good to just check it out again, just to see if you're eligible.
All right, we're on the site redcrossblood.org, and we're talking to Rebecca Jordan. She's executive director with the American Red Cross, and it's World Blood Donor Day. So, Rebecca, who can and cannot donate?
So the first would be the age requirement. So 17 years old and above, if you have parental permission, and also you have certain weight. You have to weigh 110 pounds. So there are different qualifiers that are on there, but most, I think most people, it's worth trying to go on and see if they're eligible to donate. Like I said, there are some countries, if you've lived in, especially military, might have done a lot more traveling. And also if certain medications, but it's well worth the effort. You can see that you can give platelets, you can give whole blood, you can give plasma, and there are different processes. We're partnering with the American Cancer Society because cancer patients need our platelets. So It's very important for us to continue those. And there are different days. So if you want to do whole blood, you can do that every 56 days. If you want to do platelets, you can do that every 7 days, and then plasma you can do every 28 days. So we have some very dedicated people that come in very regularly to give platelets. And so, yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that. What are the different types of, because, when you hear give blood, I think most people like me think you give blood, you just give blood. They don't know that there are different things like just like you mentioned, it's like right here on the website that giving blood means you can use different parts of the blood. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'll give you the high level.
Okay. That's all we need, girl. Just break it on down. We don't need the doctor's level. We just need me and you. We just understand.
So when you give whole blood, it can be used, we've always got to need accident victims, surgeries, and you never know. And, blood has a shelf life too. It's not like you can't just store it forever. So, that's why I think during the summer months you have, more people traveling. You may have more accidents. And you might have more people doing surgeries because they're having more time off. So, so the whole blood is a very important part of it, and that can be broken down. So basically there's 3 components: the whole blood, and then there's the platelets and the plasma. Platelets are used, they're created in the bone marrow, and they're really used for for our cancer patients. Plasma is the liquid portion of the blood, and it's used for burn patients, shock, and those that have liver disease. And there are different processes for being able to donate. So the platelet donation takes about 3 hours. So it is longer, but you come into, again, one of our centers, you need an appointment, and you can watch a movie or just chill for a while and just save some lives.
Yeah, we're talking to Rebecca Jordan. She is an executive director of the American Red Cross, and it is World Blood Donor Day. Visit the American Red Cross website at redcrossblood.org for more information on how and when you can donate blood. We've been looking at the website here today. How do you prepare to give blood, Rebecca? What should you do before and after?
Well, it's really important to be hydrated. I think a lot of people, when they say, I had a bad experience, it was probably because they weren't very hydrated. And we ask that people eat a good breakfast before they come in and donate. So those are 2 of the main things that people can do to make sure that they're ready to give blood and they feel great afterwards, especially with the snacks provided afterwards. They really make a lot of difference. But those are the 2 really main things, is just to be hydrated, get a good night's sleep, and to eat something before they come in.
Right. And if people, once again, want more information, of course, today is World Blood Donor Day, but people can visit that American Red Cross website at any time and find out how you can donate blood, when you can donate blood, what you need to do to donate blood. And as Rebecca says, there is a particular push right now because it's summertime, and usually, people are out and about. And I think it's particularly with this summer, people are they're glad to be out. So, I guess that I hate to say this, that's probably the last thing they're thinking about, but it's even more important now because people are out and about. because there is, more likelihood of, unfortunately, accidents and other things that will occur. So just think about, what if someone in your family, what if you, someone you loved, needed blood and that wasn't available? So think about that when you are considering giving blood. It is something that is needed, something that is pretty much painless, and something that is so very important. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us today on World Blood Donor Day. We appreciate the work you folks do at the American Red Cross. And again, thank you so much. If you want more information, again, you can visit the website, and Rebecca's information is up on the screen. Thank you, Rebecca, so much. We appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All righty. I'm Trey Taylor, and you are watching Coping with COVID. It Together SD and the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with COVID. Now, coming up tomorrow, we are going to talk about the city council race. Retiring city councilman Sam Davis is going to join us and tell us about his time on city council. And then he's going to tell us about the person that he is endorsing to take over the reins in District 1. Tina Herbert, city council candidate, will also join us. That's coming up tomorrow on Coping with COVID. On Friday, we continue our Black Music Month tribute. We're going to talk with the mother of Black Music Month, Deanna Williams. She's going to join us tomorrow. And then we're going to feature some of the Juneteenth festival artists. That's right. We talked to Jamal Bradley last week, and Juneteenth is next Saturday in Columbia. We're going to talk with two of the artists, comedian T.P. Hearns, and also Nellie Tiger Travis. Hey, Mr. Sexy Man, do you know that song? She's going to join us Friday as we celebrate Black Music Month. And then next Wednesday, we'll be right back here with Wellness Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, and talk about men's health. We've got a multi-generational panel of men to talk about men's health. And ladies, you may not think this is a conversation for you, but if you have a man in your life, you know this is a conversation for you. So join us next week as we talk about men's health. I'm Trey Taylor. As usual, I will leave you with today's reading from Jesus Calling. Today is June 9th, and today Jesus says, "Seek to live in my love, because my love covers a multitude of sins, both yours and others. Wear my love like a cloak of life, covering your head to toe. Have no fear, for perfect love decimates fear. Look at other people through a lens of love. See them from my perspective." Jesus says, this is how you walk in the light, and it pleases me. I want my body of believers to be radiant in the light of my presence. How I grieve when pockets of darkness increasingly dim the love light. Return to me, Jesus says, your first love. Gaze at me in the splendor of holiness, and my love will once again envelop you in light. That's your Jesus Calling for today, Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, June 9th. I'm Trey Taylor. Until the next time, I wish you peace, abundant blessings. Take care. Stay safe. Be careful. And wear your mask. I think you should still wear your mask in certain instances. And please get your vaccine. See you later.
Coping with COVID and In It Together present Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by the Diabetes Advisory Council of South Carolina and DHEC's Division of Diabetes and Heart Disease Management.
Coping with COVID with Trey Taylor.